Dear conference participants, let me present a report to you. Assessment of changes in the structure of the forest ecosystems, for example, sanitary woody plantation in the Steppe Dnipro. Acceleration of industrial and technical greenhouse gas emissions and the disruption of the energy balance of the atmosphere, which is characteristics of powerful industrial regions in Ukraine, are considered the main causes of the existing climate changes. In the Ukrainian steppe territory, the spatio-temporal transformation of the woody ecosystems structure is associated with changes in the water ecosystems of the Azov Sea and Kakhovka Reserve. At the local level, the state of three ecosystems will depend on the river ecosystems of the Dnipro region, such as Saksahan, Ingulets, Kamenka, Bazavluk, Samara, and Act. Under these conditions, scientifically based restoration and preservation of woody ecosystems in the conditions of the steppe zone is important. However, artificial woody and shrub plantations form according to certain natural orders, depending on the ecological conditions of the territorial location and the complex of viability indicators of woody ecosystems. Their further development is possible according to the vectors of progress or regression. Hence, there is an urgent need to study the biometric indicators of woody ecosystems in Kryvyi Rih district under different ground conditions. Next slide, please. Update the tendency to intensive use of forest resources caused by the desire of forest industry enterprises to obtain high profits dictated by the market increases in Kryvyi Rih district. On the other hand, currently the forestry land amounts to 9,086 hectares, of which 6,500 hectares are forest land. On the main part of this land, only the natural regression of the forest is taking place, while in recent years, afforestation for being carried out on an area of only 2 hectares. Next slide, please. A significant period of forest resources reproduction limits the possibilities of their use, especially in the unfavorable conditions of the steppe climate and content anthropogenic load. Such specificity of woody plantations require content monitoring of relevant changes in the steppe composition and vital state and the tree in ecosystems. This demand the improvement of the forest management system, the creation of environmental protection infrastructure, government, and the development of the financial and economic system of target financing of the forest protection industry. The work aim is evaluating the changes in the structure of forest ecosystems using the example of dust protection and water protection, sanitary wood plantations, analyze the vital state of artificial woody plantations and the stability of the dominant tree level representatives caused by the stress factors of anthropogenic load, industrial, residential nature, and the region area climate for further improvement of the forest resources, management system, and governments of nature protection activities in the ecological conditions of the Dnipro steppe in Kryvyi Rih industrial district. Next slide, please. Kryvyi Rih region district is a territory divisions of the land geographical zone in Ukraine. The district is located in the southeast of the central part of Ukraine. More than 19% of its area is administratively located in the southwest and west part of the Dnipropetrovsk region. In this slide, we can see figure location of study areas. A green point is a control point, and a yellow point it's a sanitary protective artificial woody plantations. Next slide, please. Woody ecosystems that are in favorable ecological conditions in relation to the city of Kryvyi Rih area are represented by the natural stand of the Yurivka forest, village forest, Volove village forest, Tarasivka village forest. They were formed with the dominance of Quercus robur, the estimated age of which is 118 years ago. Next slide, please. Sanitary dust protection and noise protection woody plantations are of artificial origin, 19 years old and located in the zone of unfavorable ecological conditions, represented by tree plantations of the urban and sanitary protection woody belt. The woody plantations are dominated by Quercus robur, Fraxinus excelsa, Acer negundo, and occasionally Ulmus levis. It should also be noted that the edaphic conditions are characterized by a low level of moisture and very significant aerogenic pollution due to the closeness of the territory to the city's mining and metallurgical enterprises. Next slide, please. The woody ecosystem's vitality was investigated and measured by such indicators of wood as the area of tree plantation, stock of wood, age structure of wood, distribution of diameters of tree trunks, presence of drains, composition of tree species, and consequences of harmful effects of environmental agents. Next slide, please. Arithmetical average considered by specialists to be the main characteristics of the statistical population of all taxa in the areas, reflecting the level in order to determine the fluctuation of varieties in the plant diversity. These statistical indicators in our studies took into account not only the visual average indicators of woody and shrub ecosystems, but also the characteristic of each individual plant of the site. Next slide, please. The analysis of dendrometric characteristics showed that the optimal level is observed in the natural ecosystems of Kvitko village forest, Tarasivka village forest, and woody ecosystems of the Oleh village forest. These woody plantations and the natural forest ecosystems are in the most favorable ecological condition for growth. The fermented ecosystems are characterized by fully formed the vertical structure of the tree stem. The dynamics of the indicators of tree vitality are calculated from 2050 to 2020. In general, indicators of the current state of the natural phytocyanosis of the Kvitko village forest are optimal and can serve as a control in further research. Next slide, please. In this slide, we can see table 1, indicators of the woody plantations structure organization. These include density of wood of plots, wood density in the ecosystem, height of wood, diameter of the trunk of wood. Next slide, please. In sanitary dust absorbing and noise protection tree and shrub plantations, the vertical structure of the woody ecosystems in these areas is determined by the well-formed first and second tiers and the underdeveloped third tier, as well as the practically absent shrub tier. There is almost no grass level in the areas. Next slide, please. In this slide, we can see figure the average value of indicators of the structural organization of the state of trees in the experimental plots. We can see diameters of the trunk of wood, height of wood, density of wood on plots. Next slide, please. Therefore, the majority of woody ecosystems support the home states of the population of dominant tree species, preserve the average number of artificial plantations of Kryvyi Rih district. Fluctuations in the number of woody and shrub plants depend on a number of environmental factors, the speed of tree recovery during and removal, invasion of aggressive species, for example, such as Acer nigundo, Robinian pseudoacacia, Acer campestre, and Act. Such factors determine the direction of the further development of an individual woody plant and affect the growth of wood, the level of die-off, invasion of aggressive tree species, and changes in the species composition of the ecosystem. Next slide. In perspective, for order to assess the effect of abiotic factors, taking into account global feature in the necessary to develop regional scenarios of gradual changes in climatic conditions that will affect the tree ecosystems of Kryvyi Rih district locally and the Steppe Dnipro regionally, namely temperature and the precipitation fluctuations on the territory in Ukraine until 2050. Thank you for your attention.